Oh, Fernando Mania. Never forget it. We knew he was sick, passed away of cancer, went very fast. I'm just going to run through some notes and headlines that I made just as I sat to think about this guy. Mystical lefty, miracle screwball. You know, in baseball, we have stood and we've watched the bully on the mound that was Nolan Ryan. We watched the brazen guys on the mound, like Steve Carlton and Randy Johnson. We watched the mad scientist on the mound, a Greg Maddux or a Tom Seaver. And we watched Fury on the mound that was Bob Gibson. Those are all some of the great pitchers of our modern era. Fernando Mania. He was like a comet across the sky. Came out of nowhere, became an unbelievable star, gave us 6 unbelievable years at Dodger Stadium, and like the comet then went down on the horizon. He impacted the Dodgers in terms of the pennant race. He impacted the Latino communities up and down the West Coast, from Frisco to LA, into the OC, into San Diego, and then to his home country, Mexico, and reignited the love of the game. Now, it's an amazing story how he was discovered. The Dodgers' lead scout was Mike Brito, cigar smoking, Panama hat, those white beige suits.
You'd always see him like behind home plate, sometimes with the jugs gun.
Exactly. He was scouting a veteran shortstop in the Mexican Summer League, 1980. He saw the 17-year-old kid pitching in the Mexican Summer League against men and dominating. That was Fernando Valenzuela. They signed him in 1981. He got to the major leagues with a snap of the fingers. At age 20, first 8 starts, he went 8-0. First 8 starts, 8 complete games. First 8 starts, 5 shutouts. First 8 starts, 0.50 ERA. Wow. That was amazing.
That's amazing.
And he showed up with 2 pitches, fastball, curveball. That was it. I mean, he was a horse on the mound. He was a workhorse on the mound. And then he pitches the Dodgers into the pennant race that first magical season. They get to the World Series in 81, and they're losing to the Yankees 2-0 in the World Series. Out of desperation, they come to him the night before Game 3. Lasorda tells him, "You're starting." Fernando goes out, 155-pitch effort. The Dodgers beat the Yankees, stay in the series, eventually win the series. In a 6-year span from that rookie season, for 6 consecutive seasons, Fernando threw anywhere between 251 and 285 innings every season.
That's crazy.
Amazing. His career stats, 113 complete games, 453 starts, record of 173 and 153. He threw over 2,900 innings. He had almost 2,100 strikeouts. He also walked 1,150 batters. He threw a lot of pitches. How did he become great? It wasn't just the fastball and the curveball, but Mike Brito sent him to the minor leagues with a former major league pitcher, Bobby Castillo. And Castillo taught him the screwball. Nobody was throwing it in Major League Baseball. Nobody's hardly ever thrown it because of the wear and tear factor on his shoulder. He took to that pitch just like that. And by the time he got to Dodger Stadium that first year, you could not hit it because it was dipping. His legacy, the windmill windup. His legacy, he could do it differently, like Juan Marichal, like Johnny Cueto. His legacy, his love of L.A., love for the Dodgers, and the Latino fans everywhere's love of Fernando. And he was humble. He came from a small farming community in central Mexico. 12 kids in his family lived in poverty, and look what he became. And it wasn't about money. It was about just being at Dodger Stadium. That's what it was for him. He became the Mexican Sandy Koufax.
Hey.
That's kind of interesting. And I think the other thing, when he pitched at Dodger Stadium, the dress code of the day, according to Vin Scully, sombreros. Everybody wore sombreros. I
Nice.
mean, what a spectacular story of what this guy became. Like the comet, got to the top and obviously came back to Earth. Hell of a guy. And he spent 24 years as a broadcaster once he retired after a 14-year career. And he made a bunch of stops at the tail end. And of all the places he went, I mean, he was in Philly, he was in St. Louis, he was in Baltimore. His best stop post-Dodger career was about 2+ years with the San Diego Padres.
Yeah.
So cool. What a man. Sadly, he went really, really quickly from cancer, but hell of a guy. What a story. And his impact, what's the word I'm looking for? Ambassador?
Oh, yeah.
Ambassador into the Latino community to resell them their love of Major League Baseball. And there was only one other Mexican player, because it was hard to get players out of Mexico because of their contracts. There's only one other player that really had an impact in Major League Baseball. And it was a second baseman with the Cleveland Indians back in the 1950s and was their captain of the Indians' 1954 World Series team, Bobby Avila. And Avila retired after a great career with the Indians and became the president of the Mexican League. So, but boy, Fernando's impact is just spectacular. And this week in Mexico, they have a tradition. I was not aware of this till late last night. Somebody brought it up to me. They honor the dead. I think it's called the Day of the Dead. I think the ceremony is actually November 1st.
Yeah, Dia de los Muertos.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
I cut Spanish class that day. So the Day of the Dead, they are going to fly Mexican flags and Dodger pennants on the Day of the Dead because everybody remembers all their families who've passed. But they're going to do this on Friday, November 1st to honor him.
That's cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So that's the storyline on Fernando. Screwball, talk about it. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, that's a tough pitch to throw. I remember Brent Honeywell was throwing that one. For me, I was in high school when Fernando Mania came out, and I just remember, who the hell is this guy? And of course, I'm thinking, why does he have to play for the Dodgers? Why don't the Giants ever get a guy like this? But he was fantastic. And think about this. This was 15 years before the internet was even a thing. And he still got such huge publicity because they would be on Monday Night Baseball. They would have him pitch, and the local news would cover him. I mean, it was mania. And on one level, I was like kind of, bumming that it was happening with my rival team, but it was an exciting moment for the sport. The thing about Fernando that I don't know, I find interesting is, number one, you said it, there's very few ball players that have come out of Mexico, and you think we would have seen more from Mexico. That's always surprised me.
It's just because the Mexican Federation and Major League Baseball have not been able to come to an agreement about when guys can become free agents. Now, he got signed at age 17 or age 18.
Mm-hmm.
So he was out the door before he became eligible to sign, to get a multi-year contract, which would have locked him in. So that's why. There have been more modern day guys. Teddy Higuera, Milwaukee Brewers, was from Mexico, but his career flamed out because of shoulder and elbow problems. But there have not been very many superstars. Bobby Avila of the Cleveland Indians in the 50s was the first one, and then Fernando is probably the most famous of all time. Just really special. My goodness.
Well, the other kind of interesting story, it's kind of a tangent, is about the whole Chavez Ravine development. And when they removed people from their homes with eminent domain, it was a Latino community. The Latinos hated the Dodgers in LA and throughout America. And then when Fernando arrived, everything changed.
Yeah. A big ceremony on Friday night. Don't miss whatever's going to be done in pregame. I think it's going to be spectacular. It's probably going to be emotional. I'll be intrigued to see if the Dodgers paint number 34 behind home plate to salute Fernando, whether they wear a patch, what they're going to do on the video board. Sombreros. Who wants to wear a sombrero to the game on Friday? So that's cool.